Hi, it's Andrea Strang here from Gallery222. We are welcoming Alicia, I'm sorry, I always mess up her name, Alicia Asselta. She'll be here in a minute. We have a long relationship with Alicia. She is an amazing artist. She first showed at 2018. As you can see right now, all her current work is up on the website. So please go to the website and check out her stuff. You can buy online. But we first had a relationship 2018. As you can see, it's Fred Danziger, Sarah Baptist, and Alicia. I think that was February 2018. We had an amazing show. That's her show from 2018. She did very well. In fact, I bought a piece. That's one of the pieces there. We'll talk about that later. But we have a little video, which is really cool for us during this Zoom interview with her talking about her background, and then we're gonna welcome Alicia in. So please enjoy the video.
I pretty much always enjoyed drawing and coloring from a very early age, and I was fortunate to grow up in a house where my parents were extremely supportive of the arts and music, and they encouraged it. They loved encouraging my imagination. And I think it wasn't until I went to high school and I had an amazing art teacher and joined art club and had this great opportunity to go to Europe when I was in high school, and that's really when I got bit by the bug when I was there. And I remember going to the Moulin Rouge and seeing Toulouse-Lautrec and going to the Louvre, and it was just an amazing experience. So that's when I really realized that this is something that I wanted to do. But after school, I went to college, or after I graduated, I realized that fine art is going to be something that's going to be difficult to make a living in. So I went into graphic design and advertising for a few years, then had children, and then took a little bit of a hiatus, and then decided I wanted to get back into it.
So now we're going to invite Alicia to join us. Hi, Alicia, how are you?
How are you?
Video. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good. So you mentioned that you studied in Europe. What was that like?
It was amazing, as you can imagine. I had been getting my art degree at a liberal arts school, so I was given the opportunity to just focus solely on my art for a semester my junior year. So it was amazing. And everywhere you go in Florence is you look anywhere and everything is art. So for an art student, it was a dream come true. Yeah, so it was nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know, it's so cool how you explained that. That's how you really caught your bug and knew that you were going to give it a try to be a professional artist, and thank God you did. So yeah, 2020, we were talking about your 2018 show, so you're back with us 2020. We have pictures of your room, which is gorgeous. Again, people cannot see it in person. Hopefully by the last weekend, June 5th and 6th, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we can allow visitors in. But your work is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So we're going to get into the process. And again, we're going to show another video. So this time you have to sit and watch yourself talk. But the video shows your process. So let's see that.
Once I have my subject down, one of the most important things I feel like in my paintings, or for an artist in general, I think one of the most important things is composition. So that's where I really feel like I have to sit down and take my time, and a lot of times I'll just get it on there, and if it's not perfect, then the painting for me isn't going to feel successful. So I have to oftentimes, erase and go back and erase, but if I try to rush that stage, then I just know that in the end I'm just going to wind up just painting over it and just putting the canvas aside. So that for me is like the number one aspect. And then after that, it's just like recently I've been really interested in the shadows of paintings and the highlights and where the sun hits the floral or the fruits. And so a lot of it is mixing the paints and different shadows and highlights. And I feel like then that's the second most important step, is getting those colors mixed properly. The third step is just finessing it and adding all the detail and the real brights and the real darks, and then making sure that I don't neglect the negative space, because the background is such a big part of it, and sometimes artists I feel like I spend so much focus on what the subject is that you kind of forget that the negative space is a really important part of the painting as well. I'll feel like it's so great, but I'll want to continue working on it, and I can't tell you how many times then I'm frustrated that maybe it was finished before I thought. And so that's really like one of the big questions I always ask myself is, is it finished? Should I add more? And it's something I struggle with every painting. When is it ever ended?
There's a couple points I want to talk about. Well, first I should start off saying if anyone has any questions, this is a Facebook Live, so please use the comments for questions. And if we don't answer it during this session, we will answer, Alicia will go back and answer them later. But please, please give us questions. That would be fun. So a couple points about your process. First, your color in your paintings is so vibrant and like saturated. Like how do you get such deep colors?
Thank you. Well, I do like to have bright colors because I feel like my compositions are so simple. So I really do like to have the colors be really rich and saturated. That's sort of why I do it. But I go thin and then thick paint, so that the top layer is in the saturated. I don't use as many mineral spirits and things on the top coat, so that the paint is very saturated and very rich. But I definitely like the colors to be very bold in my paintings, since the compositions are so simple. I feel like that's what kind of finishes the painting off.
Yeah, well, it totally works. So your compositions mostly, for this show at least, are the flowers and fruit. Are they your favorite?
Yes, yeah, they are. I always love nature. That's just something that I've always gravitated towards. And flowers especially. I grew up, my mom is a huge gardener, and we always, since I was a kid, in every room had fresh bouquet of flowers. So I always just grew up around them. She was amazing. I didn't get the green thumb from her, probably why I paint flowers, so that they don't die. I think Georgia O'Keeffe said that. Yeah, but I love everything. And, nature is just something that I've always gravitated towards.
Yeah, now you have done farm animals.
I have.
Yes, I remember there was Bella. There's Bella. We love Bella. So that was a commission. You actually had a piece in your show, and then a client needed a different size of Bella. So you were so grateful. We were so grateful that you put a commission together. So are they a little bit more daunting?
They are. That's probably why I don't do them as often. I do like them. I love doing them. They're just challenging for me, but I do love figurative art. And so I just go through phases where I need to be in a specific mindset for me to do them, because it's just something, since since I'm not doing them as frequently, it's a little more intimidating for me. But I do love doing them. And now I feel like I want to start to do them some more now that I'm looking at these.
Aren't they cool? And I have to say, your work in general, I think, goes very well, because a lot of decors are these monochromatic, and you have your art is the pop that the room needs. I really do feel that way. And like perspective, that's the next point I want to talk about. So you really zoom in on the actual composition, the image. So have you always done that?
I have always done things in a larger zoomed format, always since I first started painting out of college. I don't know. And I think it must be because of how O'Keeffe is such a huge influence for me. I love how she just sort of pulls the flowers out of their natural habitat, and then you can kind of focus on like the forms and the shapes and the textures. And I always just love that, because she gives it more of an abstract. And so I try to do that with mine. I feel like it gives you a different appreciation for the flower and the fruit when you see it so up close like that, and you're able to study all of the little intricate textures. So yeah, I've always just, I always just like that sort of composition.
Well, I have two of your pieces. And what I love about them is that they're put, if you're looking at the picture right now, that is upstairs. I have a open air family room, and that's in the hallway upstairs. So it can be viewed from far away and still pack a punch. And that's what I love about your work. It's perfect for going up the stairs or right there. That's my family room. And that is seen from far away because it's the furthest wall in my room. And like I said, going upstairs, your work works well. When it's viewed from far away, I feel like it still holds together.
Well, thank you.
Yes, and I love it. So do you use photographs? Like how do you actually get the colors down and everything? Do you use some live florals? Fruit?
More often I use photographs just because my kids are little and it's hard for me if I have a flower in a vase or something in the studio. I just can't get, by the time, I can only get in there a couple hours at a time. By the time I get in there, the flowers. So a lot of times I'll take the photograph myself and then I'll just work from the iPad. But generally I take the photographs myself from the flowers and then I'll work from that, except for, the exception is fruit. Sometimes I have fruit and I'll be able to do that. And if I can get like a nice block of time in the studio, then I'll work live and I won't take a photograph, but more often than not, it's from a photograph.
Oh, fantastic. So there's 3 specific pieces I'm going to talk about that are in the show. And first off is the Italian poppies. Everyone loves Italian poppies.
Yeah, they're one of my favorites. Yeah. I actually took this picture. We went to Italy as a family this past summer, and it was just, the foliage, everywhere is amazing on the Amalfi Coast. And so I had taken this picture when we were there and knew that I wanted to paint it when I came home. So yeah, and there are other photos. I meant to do a series, so I'm going to get to that at some point. But yeah, I just love that. I love the deepness of the blood orange. I just love that color.
Oh, well, they're gorgeous.
Thank you.
And then next up is the fragile, and I can never say this.
I know. And I just recently discovered this flower. It's like my new favorite one. It's ranunculus. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Okay.
But this is like my new, I have a love-hate relationship with painting this flower because it's so intricate.
Yes.
But it's so much fun, but there's so many leaves. And so it's a little, it is daunting a little bit putting the first, trying to get the leaves. But this is like my new one. I have another one in the show, a smaller one. But yeah, this is a fun one for me to paint. I like doing this one.
Gorgeous. And then the dance. Tell us about the dance.
So I knew I wanted to do one more painting for the show, and we were, since we were in lockdown, it was really hard to find my usual places of inspiration. So I'm also sort of photography is sort of a hobby of mine, very novice photographer. So the girls and I will often go, there's this really great garden that people who aren't from around here might not be familiar with it. It's in Wayne. It's called Chanticleer Gardens. And the girls and I go there all the time. And so, yeah, last year I had taken this photo. I always knew I wanted to paint this, but I just couldn't figure out how, because it's so different from my typical style. But I knew I wanted to do something a little more abstract with it. So when I was looking through the photos, when I was trying to come up with my last painting, sorry, the landscaper's outside. Yeah, so I was so excited. I found it and I had forgotten I had taken it. So it's not my typical style, but I wanted to do something a little more fun and abstract. So yeah, and I called it the dance because if you've ever been to that area in Chanticleer, it's this like huge area of these lily ponds, and the way they just flow in the wind is just so relaxing and beautiful. So
well, that's a gorgeous piece. It really is.
Yeah, thank you.
So now your journey, you're fairly young as an artist and you're so successful. What tips, because I feel like a lot of artists come in the gallery and they're always asking, how do I start? And obviously you have the ins and outs. So do you have any advice on how to get your work out there and cultivate collectors?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out myself too, but I would say a couple of things is like exposure in any way is good. Like, don't get yourself hung up on, it has to be the right exposure. You just need to get your stuff out there. You need to get yourself out there, and it could be in a coffee shop or anything that, you might not think it's going to get, not that many people are going to see it, but it's exposure, and, it'll get things for you to post, and it'll introduce you to people. And so I think that's probably the biggest thing. But then I just, the not comparing yourself to everybody else online is a really big deal, especially as you're just starting out. And if you have like young kids like I do, it's difficult. You see everyone else is in a different journey, and everyone else is doing different things. And so you just kind of have to just, honor where you are and not get caught up in comparing yourself with others, and just try to do as much as you can. Just meet as many people and find your creative tribe is probably a big deal. When I first started out, I didn't really know any of the local artists, and it's really huge. And everyone, I don't know if it's just this area or artists in general, but this area, all the artists, everyone is just so supportive of one another, and it's so amazing. And everyone just helps you out. And then, and then they help promote, they want to see you succeed. They're promoting you. And it's just, so finding like your local creative tribe is like a big deal too, I think.
Yeah, and that's actually why I got into, owning a gallery. I really did want to feel like a hub where people could meet and then supporting each other. Having 3 shows at one time people could be competitive. I have not found that.
I know. Your gallery is great. Everyone that I've met through your gallery, everyone is really like genuinely wants to see everybody succeed. There's room for everybody to succeed. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. And I do feel like you have a unique style. I feel like that's also a plus for an artist, is to develop a style. Like, I know if I walk into a room to a friend's house or a client's house and one of your pieces is on their wall, I'm going to know it. Like there's going to be no doubt. And I think that's also it is hard. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Figuring out, like, breaking through the noise. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
So now you have a great relationship with interior designers. One is Lorena Case. She's adorable. She was in the gallery before. And so is she a friend, or did she stumble across your work? How did that develop?
We have a mutual friend, which was how we originally got connected. And then we've become friends, and she's great. She has a really big art background. Her mom was an artist, her grandmother, so she really appreciates it. And what's really nice is, as artists, it's hard to do commissions because a lot of times you sacrifice your own vision, but she gets it, and you never do that with her. She lets you do what you do, and she's so supportive, and she's really a big supporter of local artists. So she's been she's been really a great connection to have.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, and her work itself, her rooms, I love.
Yeah, I know. She's so talented. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and that's one thing where she, your work really pops in a modern decor. I really feel like it works.
Oh, thanks.
So now you mentioned a couple times the balance of being a mom of young kids, especially now. I can't even imagine with the homeschooling. But even in general, I mean, how do you say, oh, there's your girls.
That was the other day. That's how it's going for us in quarantine.
So how do you say, hey, do you give time in your studio? Do you have set times? How does that whole dynamic work?
It's so hard. In every stage that they're in, it changes because their needs are changing, like, I mean, obviously now they're home, their needs are changing, but, when they were younger, they required a little, more attention in one way. Now I'm the chauffeur basically. So it just changes all the time. I have to really, when I go into my studio, I can't really have many distractions. I have to listen to music. And so it's difficult. My studio is in the house. It's right on the first floor. It's right near the hub of the house. So it can be difficult, but that's why I just have to, I just set a couple hours and just try to tell everybody, okay, I'm off the clock. But it's hard. I mean, I'm Italian. I have guilt in my DNA, and I'm always, when I'm in there, I'm guilty, that I'm not. And when I'm not in the studio, then I'm guilty. It's just it's just a balance that I'm constantly trying to figure out.
Yes. I know when I first asked you for 2020 show, you were like, panic. I don't know if I have enough work. I'm like, well, I'll just take what you have.
I know, which is so sweet. And thank you, because it was right when the school shut down, and I wasn't sure, what that was even going to look like, and if I was even going to be able to get in there. Yeah. So thank you for that. Yeah, for
That's tough.
understanding. Yeah.
So let's see what we have. We have a few people weighing in. John Dugan, he's such a good part of the Gallery 222 family. He's a collector. He's like, your flowers jump off the canvas. Beautiful work.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Linda Devereaux from Chester Springs says hi.
Hi, Linda.
Anna Turner from Kutztown says hi.
Hi.
Yeah, and then Robin Lee Devereaux from Vermont says
Oh, hi, Robin.
so fantastic.
That's so sweet.
So anyone tuning in, all your work, I need to keep saying, it's out on our website, Gallery222 Malvern.com. It's a 3 clicks and it's yours, and I will ship it out or I will deliver it. What else? Oh, I did have a question that came in through, we sent out an email blast, and one came through about your frames. And this is always a very interesting topic, because a lot of times you work with like the thicker canvases, and sometimes you frame, sometimes you have those beautiful frame, the maple frames. Mm-hmm. So what's your, how do you approach that?
I always like to keep them unframed, the thicker ones, originally in the beginning. I really like I feel like I give it a more of a modern feel when I would paint around the edges. I just thought it was cool. But that's one of the difficult things as an artist. You don't know if putting a frame on it is going to limit your audience, or if, you know what I mean, or if not putting it on. It's just something that, you know, you're always just trying to figure out what people are going to want. So I prefer a simple frame for my paintings, just because of the composition of it. I feel like an ornate frame wouldn't really work with it, but everyone's style is different. So I do usually just, you know, mostly I do just a simple floater frame, natural, or, you know, gold. So that's typically what I do, but it's difficult.
So I have 2 pieces of yours. One is framed and one is not.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
It's funny when I never even thought of that. Like, I never even noticed that one was framed and one wasn't. Okay, I had to think about it. So I just feel like your work just really, really pops, and it's just
thank you, Andrea.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I just love having your work in my gallery.
Thank you.
Hopefully, I keep thinking, you know, we may turn to yellow in Pennsylvania for June 6th or 5th and 6th. But the show does end June 6th. Okay. So everything's available online now. So I guess that's it. I guess our time is.
Thank you for having me. That was fun.
Yeah, I have another comment. Marianne Riker, gorgeous work.
Oh, thank you, Marianne. Thank you.
I love it. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your talent.
Thank you for having me.
And then hopefully we'll get a few more sales by June 6th. Okay. Gallery222 Malvern.com. Couple clicks, it's yours. So that's it. Well, thank you so much, Alicia.
Thank you, Andrea. All right. Take care.